Hello everyone, welcome back to the All Things Property Podcast, a discussion of all things related to property. This is episode 2. No, it's not. It's not episode 2, it's part 2 of the first time buyers / new build, what we think you should know. Some tips and tricks, some hints. Basically how to weave yourself through the minefield that is new builds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, we kind of touched on a few things in part 1. Just a few things we think you should know. Might get overlooked when you are a first-time buyer. Some little surprises, just basically trying to make you aware so they don't pop up in the future. And obviously, don't
Cough still
pop
there
up in the future. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to discuss or have a whole section in regards to new builds and early birds and essentially what it is. Because like I say, first-time buyers, new builds are. Well, it's like a massive thing, isn't it? Really, a lot of first-time buyers go to new builds. Or
it's a very, I will say this, it's a very pressurized environment. It's very salesy, very pressurized.
Yeah, I think
that and you just know what you're talking about.
There isn't as much probably demand for new builds for first-time buyers as there was before, because Help to Buy is now gone, which was obviously on new builds. So
yeah, that's true.
Now that's gone, I don't think they're as incentivised to go with the new build.
I'm sure they're going to replace that with something.
Yeah,
They've got
I mean,
but it's not.
It's
nothing to mention yet.
But yeah, the difference with new builds to a normal sale is if there's a development of new builds going up, they may not be ready to move into until sometimes 2 years' time, sometimes 6 months. Mostly they tend to be around sort of 9 to 12 months that they'll be available. Obviously, most sales usually go through within 3 to 4 months on your average residential property. So with a new build, developers will often do something called an early bird reservation. So we had it with our first house. We bought off plan. So you literally looked at the plot and it was a piece of land. There was nothing there. But we knew the kind of dimensions of the plot we were buying. We knew the floor plan. And we'd seen similar houses on the development. So
they're the ones on Rightmove where it's just like staged properties.
Yeah,
like
that was
so like the reason why like early birds sometimes is advantageous is, like Lucy said, that you're going to know where your plot is and you're going to know a rough dimension of your plot. So when you look at like a site map of like a development, you'll see that some of them sometimes it's about bigger gardens or it's a corner plot.
Yeah,
or you got to think about sort of you get a better peak because end of the day you think about sellability. So the thing I always just go on about you is like headlights in your windows, like because sometimes obviously you drive into these estates and there's like houses there. You're going to get headlights into your house. Normally they're the big ones. And
you've got to think about the sellability for the future. Is
exactly.
that going to be something that's going to... You might think it's fine, but that might be the difference between somebody choosing your house and
if you're a semi, a good corner plot might be good because you're going to probably get a bigger plot size just because that's how it works on a lot of corner plots. Yeah. Not saying it's standard practice, but it's
just little things to look for. Isn't it? Little things.
Because I'm moving my hands around, isn't it?
No.
But yeah, no. Is it early birds? Then are you getting that at a better price when it's just a plot?
No.
Why would you? You wouldn't. No, you never would.
But they tend to go up in value though, don't they?
Yeah, but you
over time is that just?
If it's on if it's the same developer and it's phase 1, phase 2, and they're in phase 2 and you're going to buy off for phase 3 or 4. We had it where they wouldn't confirm the price to us immediately, so we were putting an offer on the basis of this is going to be.
It's a price range.
A certain amount. Which as long as you know you can get the mortgage up to and you're happy with that, then it's fine. But you also get the advantage with a lot of new builds. They will let you choose everything in the house. You know, the kitchen, fixtures and fittings. They don't tend to change things like they don't decorate. They do decorate, but they'll do it in magnolia or
whatever colour it is, like half white, whatever colour they agree.
That, and they're quite strict with certain things. But before the roof goes on, they say that you can make the amendments you want to make, so like your kitchen and things like that. So it's kind of nice because you do get to choose the things that you like if you're doing the early bird ones. Whereas with our second house, it was going to be ready within 3 to 4 months, so we couldn't choose the kitchen. It had already been ordered. So we had to go with it as is. But I think that there's a lot. The new build industry is a whole other thing to delve into because you'll find that developers will vary between what they'll include from like 3 to 4 beds.
Yeah, what the incentives are and what what things are included.
If you buy a 4 bed up, 4 or 5 bed, they tend to have upgraded the oven, the fridge, and
like fitted wardrobes.
Grass.
Adding grass in, like landscape, like your garden's already done. Just things like that will do a standard,
Yeah.
just because it'll make better sense than on price. I
So
mean, the other thing, just while I was talking about price, I don't know obviously the full like schedule we've got, but like people don't walk in and think to make an offer on it, and when you're within your rights to make an offer on something. So if the house is up for 260, go and offer on it 250.
yeah.
You got no idea, because all developers, they're a business, they want cash flow,
And
they might want to sell it. 10 grand to them, 10 grand to you is a lot of money. To them, it's probably not a lot of money in grand scheme of things. They might just accept it. You never know.
Or they might say, look, we won't accept an offer, but we'll chuck in all of your carpets.
Yep.
Or there's a lot. I think that's
Deals
the
and
thing.
incentives.
Yeah.
There's some flexibilities behind it.
So I was going to ask this because I remember when was it in December? There was an estate that was literally like giving properties away,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Because they hadn't.
Yeah, was
gone.
it paying
The
your
deals-
mortgage for like 12 months or something
Yeah,
stupid?
there's
wasn't
the
still
it?
loads
offers that
doing
you
it
were
now.
getting, the
Yeah.
deals.
Good off a
It
month.
was just, but they're not advertised, are they?
No.
Really, it's like obviously who you know helps, but when you go on the website and you just see them, they're not like put anywhere on like Rightmove and stuff that I've seen, but clearly they just want them gone. So definitely deals and incentives to be had.
And don't think that just because you're buying a new build, it's actually going to be ready to move into, because majority of them won't include your carpets, or your flooring, tiles, bathroom, anything like that. There's a lot of if you go, and the best thing to do if you're going to look into a new build is get the specs, the standard specs, because a lot of them won't include like a shower in your main bathroom or things like that. So they'll spec up based on the different properties and the budget.
Again, just a side note on that. So you won't always be able to like, it's like just on like tiles and flooring and stuff like that. You can actually, in some cases, get your contractor in with your chosen like tile or flooring, whatever it is, or decorator. Some of them will let me go in with it, won't they? But some of them just flat out refuse it.
Yeah, most I've ever known. Only really the small developers will let you do things like
it,
that.
yeah.
Most, I mean, I understand why they wouldn't, because I don't think I would. But
I mean, we moved into our second house with no flooring downstairs. So
Yeah.
it's just about getting those things in place, because we moved in December, 20th of December, wasn't it? 21st?
18th.
Oh yeah, sorry. Flooring was done by the 21st because we organised a contractor on that day.
Otherwise, you'd be walking around with sliders on.
Yeah.
Got no
Well, we didn't move
flooring.
in, and you shouldn't really. We made the decision not to move in. I think that was a right decision, because it was
Pained me.
Yeah,
dusty. It was dust hell in there until we got the floor done.
I can imagine.
Mm.
But yeah, no, obviously, where's the best place to go or best person to speak to then? Is it when obviously that site's being built, get straight down there and
Yes, so there'll be a sales office, and also they don't tend to work Mondays and Tuesdays, so they're usually open. They're all different, but majority are open Wednesday through to Sunday. And yeah, if you go in or give them a call, they'll have sales
because they don't, like I say, they don't
representatives.
always go on Rightmove, do they?
They don't.
A lot of them
So
aren't advertised on
yeah,
there,
you-
especially ones that haven't been built. Really.
Yeah, you're better off going in there and putting forward your interest, telling them what you want. They'll tell you the plots that are available and the different incentives, and then I think shop around, because you will often find there's not always just going to be one developer in one area. There'll be several. You need to weigh up, and it gives you more room for negotiation. If you've gone to one developer and they said that they're going to give you, $5,000 worth of incentives, and you go to another and they won't, then it can kind of
Well, like I say, it's no harm in asking, is there?
No,
If you can
and
get a
also
better
you should be
deal out of
thinking
someone
about
else.
what's going to be on that site, i.e. community things. So
Yeah.
In some cases, I wouldn't want to be on a site where building like a new GP or a new like school or something in the middle of it, which is a site that's close to us, because that will be there'll be a lot of activity on that. There'll be a lot of activity as a result of that. But like we've got like a park in the middle of ours where some haven't, and it's just nice to have that. So there are other things to look at when choosing a
definitely
site.
considering, because I mean we've mentioned it before, like say not like hidden rules, but these like estate charges that you could pick up from what's on there. Obviously there is clauses sometimes in the new estates, isn't there, about I say like restrictions as well.
Yeah.
Can you ask for them straight away? As in
What's
go
that?
there and say what clauses are going to be on
Yeah,
here,
so they're called
or-
covenants or restrictions.
Yeah,
so in some cases, these are some of these also off the top of this subject, some of them are very unenforceable. Like we had one before on an estate where they couldn't have sign written vans on some of them. I mean that you can't enforce that.
Yeah,
Totally unenforceable clause. It's
that's what
unfair.
I discussed with
It's just
someone
like,
earlier.
that's
'cause
just basic discrimination to people who
it's
work for a
contractors
company
and
or a
stuff,
contractor or a self-employed person who has a sign written van. It's just you can't do that. But there's stuff like for our estate, for example, we have to get they build these houses and they put like nice bush fronts in, don't they? So we can't remove them without written permission.
You
we
got
can't remove the bushes without having a written permission to remove them.
Yeah, or front doors.
Front door colours got to be the same.
That's what I mean. It's stuff like that. Yeah, well, that's just something to bear in mind, isn't it? Because if you can find that out at the very start, or just ask for it, so you don't obviously get stung by it later. And then, as you know, because we did discuss that on another one, the estate charges aren't applicable until the actual estate's finished. So,
and I think as well, a lot of people don't realise, they think, oh, I'm not going to go for an apartment, I'm going to go for a house, or I'm going to go for a new build. But you have got to consider, in a lot of cases, there will be a management company, and you will be required to pay management fees. And one thing that's kind of been stung with a lot of the sales that we've had recently for resale of second time resale of new build properties is, if the development isn't finished yet and you initially had signed to say that you would pay an annual charge, but that annual charge hasn't been demanded yet because it's not finished, you'll most likely have to do something called a deed of variation to correct that original paperwork, or to agree. It's a bit complicated, but there's different things with new builds that you have to consider. And you do, if you are wanting to account costs and things like that, a management charge is generally going to be applicable. It isn't a great deal at all. I mean, ours is like £10 a month. So
again, we spoke about on the episode before this, additional cost as a vendor or a buyer. As a vendor, you'll end up paying about 300-400 quid for something called a management pack, which will basically, it's so stupid, but basically just confirming to the managing agent or the management company that the property's exchanged hands, and basically get a management pack sent over to the solicitor to basically inform them of the charges and what it covers. But again, just for you, it's another charge. So it's just something else to think about.
You also, when you do, just back to the early bird things, if you do agree an early bird, you most likely will pay a reservation fee, which will come off of the purchase price of the property. They're usually around either 250 or 500.
But you won't get that back. Like, it's not like a deposit. It's a reservation. No, but what I'm saying is,
well, you do pay it straight away.
But you won't. Really? Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you won't get it back. As in, like, okay, we'll get the money back. It's a reservation fee. So, let's say your house is worth 250 grand. It was on the statement that your house is actually worth 249,500 because you paid a 500 quid reservation fee. So you're never going to see that again.
Yeah.
That's something to bear in mind. I wanted to discuss, obviously, with your new build, you've got your warranty as well. Yeah. That's usually 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is 10 years, and it's NHBC. The other one, I can't remember the one is. I'm sure it's like WHBC or something. But basically, they are exactly the same thing. Obviously, you've got like a duty of care to yourself to like extend a warranty for like your appliances and bits and pieces. But let's say you've got like a settlement cracks.
Yeah.
They are your responsibility generally, but I think it's like a pound width, isn't it, the work off? If it's like more than the width of a pound coin, that's when you need to get your developer in to come and look at it.
That form part of like snagging as well, roof issues. Snagging's a big thing in new builds, isn't it? You want to get someone in and basically go through all that so you can get it all done there, because you have to do it like there and then at the start, don't you?
Yeah, and then they come back. A lot of builders will come back in at 6 months or 9 months just to check on things. I mean, we had a bad weather a couple of months ago, and our builder was going around in a van checking everybody's roofs and then getting on the ladder.
Does depend on you. Does depend, like this one. We had Bloor this time, and they were very strict on. They were chasing us. Like, they are moving 1 week in, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months. We've had to do a form every single time. Otherwise, they will chase us, and they've stuck to everything they said.
You'd prefer it that way, though, wouldn't you?
Of course you do,
yeah. Because every day, even like in a lot of cases when you're buying a new build, this is another main thing. If you're buying a new build and they say it's January and they're saying it's going to be available in September, you should most likely expect that you're probably just going to be in by Christmas, if that, because a lot of them, our first one was told we were going to be in there in summer, June, July, then it moved to August, September, October, November, and we moved in the middle of November. So yeah, don't always stick to the dates. But our second experience, they stuck to every single date. They were amazing. So
you get like just transition on to like your dates. You'll get like, if you've reserved it from scratch, you'll get like first fix, second fix. What's the other one? Like demo, isn't it? Or like house demonstration before.
3 weeks before. And
then you obviously get your move-in date. But yeah, they like, some of them are very strict onto them, and we'll stick to them every single time.
Yeah.
And one thing I did a viewing with someone yesterday. they moved into a new build. I think their parents did, who they're still living with, and they advised that they were told they were in the fixed utilities. They couldn't go with any other providers for the first year, which I'd never heard of that before. I didn't know that was a thing, but I don't think that's actually. Well, you can't really do that, can you?
So I know that with one of ours, it was at Eon. They had a new build team, which the builder had basically appointed them that this is our development. Can you supply and sort all of the electric out? But as soon as we then moved in, as soon as you've got a postal address and you're on Royal Mail, it was pretty much free for all where it could change. But the only issue that we did partially have was our gas didn't fully get connected up with Eon for 9 months. So we couldn't change to another supplier because our gas, it hadn't been registered. We didn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know why it hadn't. Just like the serial number on the meter just wasn't marrying up to anything.
There was just something paperwork-wise from their side that wasn't done. So
it's little things like that just happen, though, isn't it? Like you do get that a lot. Like just
I think that it's one of the main big things with new build. They're quite regimented in. Very forceful in trying to get you to stay with their solicitor, stay with their mortgage advisor, and we've had it said to us before. You have to go with this. Legally, they can't enforce that you go with their solicitor or their mortgage advisor. They cannot. However, they can stop you from getting the property you want by saying we won't accept your offer. We'll go with somebody that will go with it. And in some cases, you understand why they want you to use their solicitor because their solicitor is incentivized by completing in line with their timeline. Yeah. They want you to complete just as much as the builder does, and the builder wants their cash, so they want their solicitor to push on. So in some cases it does benefit you going with it, but not necessarily the mortgage. That doesn't in any possible way. But
or utilities for that matter.
Yeah, I think don't be
sometimes
sometimes
solicitors aren't. Lucy is right on that because they are also working to very they've got more of it. They're invested in it, and they've got obviously got timescales they've got to work to. But yeah, don't let someone like that try and play on your naivety in it being
pressure you because they can be.
It's pressure. Pressure cooker. It's pressure.
We were in the property industry at that point,
need to, but you don't. You can.
Do feel because you also get that they will most likely say to you need to be qualified by our mortgage advisor. So they want you to call their mortgage advisor, go through your details so that they can say they afford it. The reason that they're doing that, firstly, so that they do know that you've maybe legitimately got that, you can afford it. But secondly, it's an opportunity for their mortgage advisor to then
get your business.
So you don't
jump back on you, get the clause in. That's
I know. If they can get you a bloody good rate, do it.
All for it.
Definitely. Shop around, but don't be pressured into it.
Don't be pressured.
It is daunting. Like
we get no end of phone calls. We're close to 30. I mean, and we've got friends. We got friends that are going. Potentially didn't get a house as early as we did. We get people messages all the time about like this experience. And I had a call last night talking about it for like an hour last night. And they are. It's just that they do lead you in a way that's really it's a bit stressful.
Yeah,
grey areas.
It doesn't need to be
just
like really.
Done it and they're like putting the pressure on, and you don't know what you can and can't do.
It's like exchange after 45 days. Never do that.
But I mean, like you say, a lot of your friends come to you for advice. When I was on that viewing the other day, a lot of questions that she asked me, that she basically felt pressured by people. Yeah. Because when you're a first-time buyer, they kind of know that they can. It's daunting. It makes
you're only as good as advice being given. Exactly, like you're going to be led by the people that you're actually trying to do business with. So
massively, and it should be, like I say, an enjoyable time. So this is just really, that's a good bit of advice. So just for anyone listening to bear in mind if that is a situation you find yourself in. So on that note, we're excited for this to jump into our breakaway topic. Like we said last week, we're going to do it a little bit differently, and we're going to break out the wheel, and that will decide
the wheel of fortune.
Yeah, what we do. So I'm just going to go grab it quickly.
We'll get it in a second.
Right, I'm back. So I've got the wheel, and but before we jump into this, we have actually got a guest on the pod who's joined us, Beth. So she's currently in the position that we've been discussing, first-time buyer. But we'll get into that. So let's just spin the wheel first, and then we'll go from there.
Is exciting.
So our topic for today is. What is it, Elise?
Yes. Last thing James and Josh bickered about. So, funnily enough, I have got Exhibit A of what you last bickered about.
What do you mean?
Go on then.
Did you video?
I did. I recorded you.
You are joking.
Yeah, I did.
Did you know she did?
No.
So just so a bit of context, James and Josh are a bit like brothers that
some other mothers.
they're very different. So like Josh is can be very pedantic sometimes. James is airy fairy, goes with the flow, but then is also my way or the highway. And sometimes they butt heads, so they have a bit of a bicker, and it happens quite a lot.
It just happened today.
It's just it's
We
happened
bicker
today.
about
Every last 10
mate.
minutes, hasn't it?
And I recorded, so hopefully you'll be able to hear.
Not getting Beth. I told you 3 times that we've got to do this whole section first. Just get right now. Stop 1 second. Work out who you shouting at.
Oh God. And the funniest thing about this is the other bicker was about 10 minutes before that when you accused me of
It
stealing
wasn't
your
even
paper.
10 minutes.
You didn't steal it. I gave you the paper, and then you
lost it.
Yeah, you lost it. But yeah, I think we do clash, don't we? But it's all fun.
It's all fun and games.
Yeah.
We don't
Anyway,
take it too personally.
That was
Moving
good.
on.
I'm glad it landed on that because I was thinking there's so many sections.
We didn't even go
Let's
through
just go
what
around
the
the wheel
other-
quickly,
other
'cause it's the first
sections
time I've
are.
seen it.
Yeah, so we've tried to spice it up a little bit, just make it a little bit more entertaining for the listeners in between. Can you just read some out for me, Luce? 'Cause I can't
Yeah.
actually see it.
So
Office
Office
truth.
truth. Riddle me this, which is no
So
way I'll
office
get them
truth.
and
Basically,
rubbish
we've done that before. You would have heard that in the previous episodes where like we get a truth in the office that's like
We're just going to expand on that a bit more,
associated
aren't
with the
we?
office.
Just-
But yeah, riddle me this. So I don't know what this is in our office, but like, on a daily basis, someone will come up with some stupid riddle. Like
It's happened a
that
few
one.
times.
How many 9s in 99?
We just
Like,
give
so
them one away now.
So
but yeah,
stupid.
so yeah, we'll just basically come back with a riddle for everyone.
And then Theo daily update. That Theo's our son, mine Lucy's son. He goes to nursery and we get like updates from him all the time.
And it's the best. Well, not, the best part of the day is seeing him.
yeah, when the
but
phone pings off
yeah.
and you two.
Honestly,
when you're at work and you get a
you
nursery
get like some
update, it's
cracking
just,
photos with an update.
It's
It's
actually,
so
they're actually
funny.
really good to be
They
fair.
are
They're quite
good.
cute.
So we just thought we'd give you an insight to that.
Last time Wadey was ill.
Wadey was
Yeah,
ill.
well, that's weekly. That's
That's,
daily.
every
That's a
day.
weekly occurrence. So.
Yeah.
Right,
And that's
then
it, and we've reset.
Repeats it.
Because we're not going to saturate it. Because we've got to do this
Right.
we've got to do this on the spin, so we've got to make sure we know what we're going to bring up.
Yeah.
But
So-
let's move on.
Yeah.
To topic 2.
That's-
Live in the flesh.
Guest. Do you
Hello.
wanna, introduce yourself, Beth. Tell us a little bit about you, what you do.
So I'm Beth and I work in lettings upstairs. I've just got married and we're buying our first home together.
Amazing. Congratulations.
And that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and timescales on that were a bit crazy, weren't they? From wedding to then all of a sudden wanting to buy a house. It wasn't like
so we
planned,
got
really.
married beginning of Feb and we thought we'll set a target. We'll buy a house by the end of the year. And less than a month later we'd been accepted for a house.
Beautiful.
We like to hear.
Bit of a whirlwind.
So
Well,
how's your
that's-
experience been buying your first house?
50-50.
What stage are you at the moment?
So we're going through all of our, you'll probably know better than me, but we're going through all of our like searches.
Yeah.
Our mortgage application's been submitted but isn't back yet.
Yeah.
I think that's it. So our estate agents that we're buying through, I won't name, it's not professional property, it's not Chainscope Homes, aren't great.
Yeah.
Took a very long time for our offer to get even put forward to the vendor and accepted. And then it took another 10 days for it to come off the market and us
Yeah,
to
you
get
told us
yeah,
about
10
this.
days.
I mean,
No
Beth's been like
way.
back and forward in our
Yeah.
office, haven't you?
It was
Asking us
13
about
days
it.
some offer given to accept it.
That's
So,
crazy.
honestly,
Yeah.
can you imagine that happening here?
But they
Yeah.
Not
wouldn't.
even
What was
3
it at the
minutes.
start about? I mean, it was like difficult to view, wasn't it? It was difficult to put an offer
Yeah,
forward.
to even
'cause they
get in for a
wouldn't-
viewing was like, I think it took me a week to even get a viewing offered to
That is
me.
mental.
Yeah.
They kept trying to get me to go in for a meeting, for an hour-long meeting, when I said, I've obviously got my mortgage in
See?
principle.
This is the thing we spoke about, the mortgage
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like the in-house
Yeah.
mortgage team.
Saying they said that you
Yeah.
had to as well, didn't they?
They were,
Yeah.
they
To get a
said
viewing then.
they said I wouldn't even be able to view without.
And
then
at this
obviously,
point, I mean, you obviously
Yeah.
went through who we refer, and you sat
Yeah.
down with them. You'd done it all already,
Yeah.
and they still was trying to force you to come in.
yeah.
This is what I mean.
So
it's
how
just
did you get
crazy.
over that barrier of them letting you go forward?
Obviously, lots of advice from James, Josh, and yourself. And then obviously dropped in that I work for an estate agent, and it was like a bit of a change in their
At
sort
that
of demeanour
point,
then,
backed
because
off
it was
a
like,
little.
Mm.
oh yeah, she might be a first time buyer, but actually she's got a lot of advice behind her,
Yeah.
and basically said I'm not coming for this meeting. I'm not bothered. I won't view then. They were like, oh, when are you free to view?
Right.
See, it was crazy. So I could not
Yeah,
believe
because they
it.
tried to make you do that before you'd even viewed, didn't
Yeah,
they? I
yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Obviously
crazy.
said to them, I'll send you my mortgage in principle. And they were like, didn't even ask for it before I viewed in the end.
No way.
Yeah, so it was just a nightmare.
Yeah,
Viewed
that's
and then said, oh no, you can't put an offer forward over the phone. You have to come into store. I was thinking,
Which
this is
it
getting
isn't
ridiculous.
local either, is it?
No, it's not
Such-
local. So I was like, right, okay. So we drove over there after the viewing straight away. We went away, thought about it, went straight over on Saturday. Oh, sorry, you can't put an offer forward. There's nobody to take it. So I was like, I work Monday to Friday. We're like, I don't know when you want me to come in to do it.
Why can't someone? An offer is just a call to the vendor.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. This
So-
is some problems that
This is the
people
thing,
face.
though,
That's
I
before you've
spoke
even
about-
started, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. And this is the thing we spoke about the other thing about buyer education. But what service is that vendor getting? Like, what on
Yeah.
earth is that? That's
Yeah.
mental. It's not the vendor; it's the buyer as well. Because that, like we were saying, like, it doesn't have to be stressful, but like people make it stressful, and like that there is just a complete
It
example.
all depends
of, like,
on who you're getting in bed with, really, doesn't it?
Of
Because
course
if
it
you
is.
if it is, say, a poor.
that's your
for your wording, mate.
Okay, right. So, but if the agent's poor, then it can just be a massive headache. If the solicitor's
Yeah,
pour,
100%.
it's a massive
Yeah.
headache.
If your mortgage advisor's poor, you can't get a mortgage
this is
offer.
what
It's
I
a massive
mean.
headache.
Yeah.
And it's just
To be
having
honest,
all
the
this.
photos on the advert were shocking as well. Like,
Beth still throwing shade.
no, it was just like the location was massive for us, and the
Yeah.
price of the property, like compared to where we are now, the property is an extra bedroom. It's we live in a cottage that's mid-terrace. It's got a massive double driveway. The price was the thing for us, so we
Yeah.
saw massive potential in okay, if it does look like this on photos and whatever's missing, if it's not in great condition, we'll do it. It's worth worth paying that. But the photos were shocking. It's on a big green. None of that was photographed at all.
Yeah, we looked at it on Street
Yeah.
View. Didn't we? Yeah, I remember doing that. Yeah, I couldn't believe- yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
if I was the vendor, I wouldn't be happy with the
No.
service, but he obviously isn't
So some
aware of
people
any
just
of
aren't
this.
aware
really,
of it.
from
It's
the-
because we
yeah.
do the job, isn't it? That we pick up on all this. And
Yeah.
That's why I don't get some of the business because our fees are a bit higher. But like we said before, higher solicitor
Yeah.
fee, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
What
You
you're
get
paying
what you
for,
pay for is what
yeah.
you're going to
Worth
get.
the cost
something like that.
sometimes. I mean, has there any positives happened, Beth? I mean, it's
Yeah.
meant to be enjoyable. So
Yeah, so Peak Mortgages, obviously, I've used them,
Yeah.
and they've been absolutely incredible from start to finish.
Yeah.
In fact, she even helped me obviously put my offer forward. She's available all the time. I drop her a text or an email, and she calls me back like straight away. They're so helpful.
Yeah, that's
And my
brilliant.
sister-in-law is now obviously, as of this morning, gone for a mortgage meeting with them as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've even
Brilliant.
recommended them because they've been fabulous. And then Fix My Legals as well. I've used them. And
Did you go with them? Did you?
yeah, I had a couple of quotes,
Okay, good.
and they were comparable with solicitors themselves, and we went with them because they were just ever so slightly more
What was
expensive.
the cheapest quote you got? Out of interest.
They were actually second cheapest, so I got
that's cool.
one slightly, I think £60 cheaper than them.
That's not too bad then.
And obviously they do all the chasing. I get daily updates on the
Yeah.
portal.
Yeah, they
they
are,
do
they're
all the chasing
cracking,
for
yeah.
me. I mean, they were even chasing me and Alex with stuff that we hadn't signed and sent back. I was like, oh God, sorry about that. So even
Yeah,
on
that's
our
good
end as well,
then.
they're chasing us. So
Yeah, that's
they've
brilliant.
And
been
they've
incredible as
helpful.
well.
That,
Yeah.
it massively shows, doesn't it, from a problematic agent to a really helpful
Yeah.
mortgage person, how it just makes the journey, because that's been a
Yeah.
massive headache.
I'm glad
for
you said all
hasn't
that because if you hadn't, part one to this episode would have been complete lies. From the experience that you get, like the experience you're gonna get if you get good solicitor, good mortgage advisor,
Yeah.
good agent.
And we do keep saying it, like I say, broken record, but it's proof.
It
in
is
the pudding.
important, yeah.
I'm coming out with
Yeah.
some weird sayings right now.
Yeah.
I need to stop.
Getting in bed with some pudding. What's going
Yeah, I
on?
know. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else you wanted to add, Beth? Anything else that has
Anything
happened?
else about like things that you did? You know, like
If you could go back to it, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? Like, do anything differently to what you did, or like? Because I mean,
was there
obviously, I know
anything
you were
that shocked
chasing
or
them.
surprised you that you weren't aware of, or
Probably not go with that agent, but
Yeah.
no, I think had I not have worked here and got the advice from you guys, because I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without you. I was absolutely clueless. I probably would have. I would have done exactly what we've done now, but I would recommend to anybody to go and see a mortgage advisor
Yeah.
rather than trying to do
Yeah.
it yourself. I would just go and see them because
puts you at ease,
you know,
doesn't it? Really.
well,
with
yeah,
what you
we were a
can
bit
and-
worried because obviously in the last 3 months, everyone says, "Oh, your last 3 months bank statements, blah blah blah." You know, don't name your transfers, all of this. Well, our outgoings for the last 3 months weren't reflective because we just got married.
Yeah, of
Yep.
course.
So we had to, you know, well, we were a bit worried about that, and she obviously
Yeah.
spoke to us about that and said, no, it's more about your fixed outgoings as opposed to paying X amount for a photographer and things like that. I'm not paying that every month.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we were a little bit worried about that. So she put us at rest for that.
Yeah, fixed cost, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and searching around for your solicitors and things like that. Whereas our mortgage advisor helped us do that, and she was like,
Yeah.
"This is what your next stages are." Whereas if we'd have just gone on our own and sorted our own mortgage,
Yeah.
we would have been completely in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, when we got our offer accepted, he said, "Oh yes, if you can send over your details of your solicitors." I was like, "Oh right, well, I best be doing that then."
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
So I didn't know any of that.
As
So
a first
yeah,
time buyer, you're just being guided through the process.
Yeah.
Whoever you go
Yeah.
to. So
yeah.
What
Yeah.
about rates? So your mortgage, what were you expecting and what did you get? Did you get a good rate, and was the cost, was it what you were expecting, or was it worse than what you were expecting?
It was better because everybody at the moment, it's like a massive horror story about your
Yeah.
rates. So I mean, as a first time buyer, you know, with our deposit and whatever,
Yeah.
it was like our mortgage advisor said that she was lucky to get us a rate under 5%, but she was
Right.
able to do it still. So from us, it was like we really didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And she sort of guided us because obviously everyone's like, oh well, you know, they'll probably come down, or you know, and nobody knows where they're going to be in 2 years.
Yeah.
So she sort of spoke about what we should do in terms of our fixed term, and we've decided to actually go with 5 years fixed term. Whereas
Yeah.
at the moment, it might come down in 2 years and it might be lower. But she said even if it fluctuates a little bit, it's not going to come down massively. And if it goes up,
You're,
you know,
yeah, it's going to be even worse.
it's
So
gonna
did
be
you get quite a
worse.
few options then? She ran through that like
Yeah.
fixed and what she thought would be
Yeah.
the best and
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
when
good.
we, because we did everything over Teams, she shared a screen with us, and she was able to edit how many years we wanted our tenancy,
We
our
still
mortgage.
do that. Landlord
Yeah.
vendors, we're so bad for
So
it.
she changed our mortgage
Term.
changed our deposit rates to see if obviously that's how much difference that would make to us, because
Yeah.
obviously we know that we're going to probably have to do quite a lot in the property. So if we could put less in, how much of
Yeah.
a difference that's going to make and things like that. And she just run through all of our options
yeah.
and how much difference monthly it makes, because for us,
And you can see it visually.
yeah,
like-
visually see. For us, she kept talking all
Yeah.
these terms and it didn't really mean a lot. So to see it there
Yeah.
in front of us, it was more, you know.
Tangible.
Transparent as
And
well.
she's helped us do all of our insurances and things like that. So, and how much we wanted to spend on life insurance.
Yeah,
and
because you
things
don't think
like
about that, do you? Life
No.
insurance and
So much of the
contents
things.
building.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah, we didn't have to touch on that before, but yeah,
Yeah.
that is a point. Yeah, life insurance and buildings and contents. Yeah,
Yeah.
and buildings insurance. Well, building, it's not contents, is it? It's building insurance,
Buildings
isn't
and
it?
Buildings
contents.
and
Insurance, yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
might go into it in more detail, but for us, Peak did give us a quote for our contents
Yes.
insurance, but Alex's mum's, that's what she's always worked in.
Yeah.
So she said, that seems quite high. So we had sort of other advice from family to do shop around. So even if
Yeah,
you do
yeah.
get quotes from them, still shop around,
around
because
for
we
everything.
found it probably for half the price.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I appreciate they're making commission and whatnot, and that's their job. But we did shop around on those.
Yeah.
It's
and
not
I'm glad
what you
we
know,
did.
it's who you know, isn't it? It always comes in.
Yeah.
Well, we said all the time, shop around for stuff. You should shop around
Yeah.
for everything.
Definitely.
Don't get one mortgage.
Yeah, just to
advisor,
confirm
speak
you're
to
getting
the
mortgage
best
rates. Look
rate,
at solicitor
definitely.
prices.
Yeah,
Like you got to do that to get. You never know if you're going to get best price if unless you
No.
don't shop around. So yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely the best thing.
Wow.
Thanks for
Well,
coming
we'll,
on, Beth.
we'll
Yeah,
have
Beth.
to we'll have to do a bit of a thing in
Yeah,
a couple
2
of months.
weeks.
Yeah.
We'll keep doing a
2
check
weeks.
Jeff Lal
in.
have moved in.
Yeah.
In 7 months, she just moved in. No,
Yeah.
just-
Story of Beth
See,
and
see how
Alex.
Beth's getting on, yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll get you back on, and you can let us know what else you faced,
Yeah.
and we'll
Have
go
they
We'll
through
end it
the
on.
journey.
We'll end it on the board. Beth,
Yeah.
Get Beth
Yeah.
back.
Have
To be
the-
fair,
Theo ones will be
when
cuter.
when I just went and grabbed Beth, we did have someone else say that we're not got on the pod, so I think we've got an abundance
Oh,
of
yeah.
guests to
Yeah.
get on.
It's
now.
funny, 'cause when we
Everyone's
first
queuing at
started
the door
this-
now.
no one said they were going to come on,
Yeah.
and now they're queuing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a bit reluctant. But
No,
Here we are.
Thank
You've been a really good guest. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
And hang on, because we have a lot of talk about dogs as well. You've
Yeah.
got 2 dogs, and what are they called again?
Mabel and Oscar,
So cute.
Oh, what breed are they?
Cavalier King Charles Spaniels,
Oh.
the
I can tell.
royalties.
I was going to say that.
I can tell.
Oh.
At least-
All right.
Oh god.
that
Also,
one
I
tick-
just
that
want to
tickled
point
you.
out that I'm the first guest that's not a cope or a co-host.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well done,
True.
Beth.
Yeah. So thank
There
you.
you go.
Yeah,
Privilege.
thank you very
Taking
much.
privileges.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It's been very insightful, and I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to see your journey.
Thanks for all the
Yeah.
advice as well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All the best.
Thanks.